New job numbers paint a stark picture of how one group, women, are still bearing the brunt of the economic crisis caused by the pandemic. In new research, the National Women's Law Center shows more than 800,000 women left the workforce in September. That is more than 4 times the number of men. The staggering figure includes 324,000 Latinas and 58,000 Black women. Joining me now, Nicole Mason, President and CEO of the Institute for Women's Policy Research and author of the book, Born Bright. Nicole, big welcome to you. Got to get into this. Why is it that women, particularly Black and Latina women, are being disproportionately affected by all the job losses out there? Why is this happening? What's contributing to it?
So what's contributing to the enormous job loss, particularly by Black and Latino women, is the fact that they are more likely to be employed in sectors that have been hardest hit by the pandemic, the service sector, education, leisure, hospitality, all those jobs. We've seen more than 20 million jobs lost since the start of the pandemic, and women bore majority of those job losses.
So, and yeah, majority of the job losses, women in general. I mean, there are parts of the economy, as you know, that have started to come back, yet women are still the ones leaving the workforce in the higher numbers. Are you worried this could be a long-term issue? Could this set back the progress that women have made in the workforce?
Yes, absolutely. So I want to first start out by saying that there is no historic parallel to what we've seen, not the Great Depression or the Great Recession in 2008, where women have been impacted in this way. And when we think about recovery, we know that many of those jobs that we've lost are not coming back, or they won't be coming back soon. And because of the additional burdens of caretaking responsibilities that are often on the shoulders of women, we know that they'll have a harder time re-entering the economy and also sustaining employment.
Yeah, and part of that has to do with because of the schooling, right? I mean, you've got so many kids that are being taught virtually at this point, and that's going to go on until it doesn't any longer. And oftentimes it's the women, it's the moms that are staying home with their kids. They're forced to.
Yes, absolutely. So women before the pandemic, 37% more household work than their male counterparts. Since the pandemic, that has been exacerbated with schools and daycares closed. And while this administration was focusing on getting small businesses back up and running, which I believe is critically important, there was not a lot of attention paid to the impact of school closures and daycare closures on working women. And as we see, as you said at the top, more than 800,000 women have either left the workforce, plan to leave the workforce, or no longer looking for work. And it's all a result of not having a strategic plan at both the federal and state level.
Last question I want to pose to you, the wage gap, as we take a look at where it stands in this country. White women make 79 cents to every white man's dollar. Black women, 62 cents. Latina women, 54 cents. Asian women, 90 cents. American Indian women, 57 cents. How does this wage gap play into the she-cession? And how might the recession affect this wage gap long term?
So pay equity, it was a big problem before the pandemic and only worsened as a result of the pandemic because women didn't have savings or earnings to ride out the economic downturn. And so as we think about recovery and women re-entering the force, we know that those gains, thinking about accelerating closing the pay gap, will not happen because there's scarcity of jobs, there's more competition. And so women who have left the workforce have less bargaining power and might have to take a job where their earnings are less. And so the long-term impact or the gains that we've seen in the past decade have all been but wiped out as a result of the pandemic. And unless we do something to address the issue of care, we won't see those gains recovering anytime soon.
Very sobering from you, Nicole Mason. Thank you so much. That's going to do it for me today, everyone. I'm Alex Witt. Thanks so much for watching. Yasmin Vasugian is up next with how the fate of U.S. forces in Germany could be determined by the election. She's going to explore which outcome might be considered a gift to the Kremlin.